All right, everybody. Welcome to Thursday night. Tonight, we are going to be learning about how to get started in investing in real estate, the 5 pillars of wealth, and why this is important for you to understand. So tonight, to get us started and get us moving into how we can all make this happen, is my business partner, Mr. Joseph Smith. So let me tell you a little bit about this guy. He is a specialist in funding businesses, raising capital, and helping everybody achieve their God-given purpose. I mean, just last year, another $700,000 of investor capital, tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars has been raised through business credit and financing for people to get started, grow your business, and continue their investing path. So I'm not going to take up too much of the time. I want him to get started so he can show you how and why you need to be doing this yourselves. So I'm going to go ahead and bring to the stage Mr. Joseph Smith.
Hey!
Woo!
Hey, thank you. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Ray. I love working with Ray because he's, a successful real estate investor and he knows what he's talking about. And we'll go ahead and we'll definitely hear more from him later. So we're here talking about the 5 pillars of wealth, right? What's that mean? 5 pillars of success, you might have heard them called. These are just systems. That's all they are. Financial systems. It just happens to be systems that every dollar in the U.S. economy flows through, right? So why is it important to learn these systems? I mean, if you get nothing else from what I'm going to cover tonight, you need to understand that the wealthy, the top 1%, right? These people who understand, get educated and learn these systems, they leverage it to their advantage. And it helps them continue to stay in the 1%. But the rest of the 99% of folks, where I used to be, where you might currently be today, right? You don't understand these systems. And because you don't understand these systems or how they work, these systems end up taking advantage of you. Right? So we're going to try to help create a reassociation, help you to understand what these systems are, how they work, and how you can start using them to your advantage. So we're going to start first off with taxes. Can we all agree that every dollar in the United States economy flows through taxes? We're all paying taxes, right? Federal taxes, state taxes, county, sales, right? Death tax. Yeah, you don't even get out of paying tax after you die. You still have to pay tax even after you die. Can you believe that? Taxes. What is the number 1 tax strategy?
Business ownership.
Yes, starting a business. I'm going to put that over here. Business, right? Because that's one of the systems we're going to learn. And the other one we're going to cover here is banking, right? We can all agree. Taxes, banking, business, those are the 3 big ones right there. Banks, corporations, and governments. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, although here's my tinfoil hat. No, but here's the point, right? We need to learn how these systems work because if you don't, right, the corporations, the banks, and the government, they're gonna set you down a path where you go to school to get good grades so that you can go to college to get a good job, so that you get that job so you can get your house and live the American dream. All along the way, you're shackled with so much debt and you're paying so much interest. We wanted to help you break free of all the liabilities and the debt and the taxes that you're stuck paying and show you what the wealthy do. So let's go all the way over here to taxes. Hey, we just got through April, and that was tax season. So everybody should be familiar with this form that you filled out, right? Your 1040. What's on this, right? Your 1040 form. List your income, all your deductions. As a W-2 employee, how many write-offs do you have, audience? Go ahead, shut up. 8,
10.
10?
Yeah, maybe 15.
Yeah, somewhere between 10 to 15. but probably only take about 8, right? Get your standard mortgage deduction, dependents. Okay. Well, as a business owner slash, we'll say, real estate investor, how many write-offs do you get access to? Anybody know? Hundreds. Yes, actually over 400 write-offs. Why are write-offs so cool?
Money.
Yeah, that's taxes.
Yeah, right. So we have our total income we made, but then there's this, the bottom line. You've ever heard it said, what's the bottom line? Right? What AGI on your 1040 that you filled out, there was your AGI. What's AGI?
Adjusted gross income.
Adjusted gross income. Okay, so with your adjusted gross income, that means we took your income minus your deductions, and so now we're reporting a lower amount that you get taxed on. That's cool. But then after you pay your taxes, you go out, right, and then you pay for, your phone, you pay for your car, pay for your house, right? These are all expenses that you have. You have more expenses. You pay for this after your taxes. And it's like you're taxed again. Are there taxes and fees on your phone bill? On your car? Do you ever pay taxes when you pump gas?
Yep.
Of course you do, right? We all know about taxes, everything that we buy for the house. So here's what we want to do. We want to learn how to take these things in our life that we spend money on and move it above the line. So this becomes a write-off for us. That's what we want to see happen. We want to turn our life into a write-off. Because if we can have all these write-offs, then wouldn't that be great if your whole life was a write-off? How much would you be paying in taxes then? That would be great. So, because here's the bottom line. When I first got started as a real estate investor, I was still working my job, but I added an additional $41,000 to my business, to my income. I had additional $41,000 from all the marketing and real estate investing that was going on. That, what happened to me the following year? Like first week of February, the IRS sent me an $8,000 tax bill.
Whoa.
Who here wants to get a letter from the IRS saying you owe $8,000?
No.
No? I see a whole bunch of people shaking their heads. So, but that year, because I knew how to do my taxes and take advantage of these write-offs, I was able to submit a 36-page tax, my tax reform was 38 pages long. So can you guess how much of the $8,000 that I had to pay? Joshua? Can't hear you. What did you say? 3,000?
2,000.
2,000? You say zero?
I say zero or.
I actually got $2,000 back because you can't do any of this if you're working a job alone. I was working a job, but I also started a business. So over here on this side, I started my business. We'll call it NewCo. And because I had a business and the business was generating income, I now had the ability to move all of my expenses back above the line and save taxes. That's what was great about this. But remember, number one tax strategy is start a business because you don't have this as an option, right? You can't write off your phone, you can't write off your car. But someone then will ask me, well, how do you do that? Well, let's take an example. I'm going to erase this for a moment real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Let's talk about an example. So if you come over here to my NewCo in my business, which we're going to talk about, I needed a new vehicle. So this is my truck that my new business bought. Now, I had it lease that truck over here to, we'll call this NewCo A, to another company. Now, I could have done this all in the same company, but what I wanted to do is create multiple write-offs. So the truck now is over here. The truck is over here in this company. So over here, the truck costs $15,000 new. $15,000. Nice, small little pickup truck. Great for driving around as a real estate investor. But can this company deduct $15,000 for the purchase of this new vehicle?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
This company purchased the vehicle, and what did it do? It purchased the vehicle so it could lease it out. So this company over here pays a lease, a monthly lease, $200 that goes back to that company. So every month, that company is making $200, right? You following me so far? So Newco 8 now has a truck. It's leasing it. So he has a lease. But you know, we also need insurance, right?
Yeah.
So insurance, $600 for 6 months, right? For 6 months. And then after the lease, what else do we need? We need gas. Gas.
Maintenance.
Right. So gas. What are we paying the gas for this truck? Paying about $250 a month in gas. Driving around state of Arizona, going to California, going to Utah, just driving all around. That's a lot of money being spent. What about maintenance? Do we spend anything in maintenance? Well, being that it's a newer vehicle, not so much. Bed liner, laser, what do you call those, floor mats, things like that that are sized. You never know, you might have to replace a tire. You know, we'll set aside $1,000 for the year. Could be more, but just for the purposes of our analysis, look at all these expenses. So my Newco A has all of these expenses. Can I write these off?
Yes.
Yes. Here, how do we do this? Well, first, here's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to add these up. So if the lease is $200 per month, what is that for the year?
24.
Yeah, $2,400. So that's a lease that's going back to the original Newco, right? So Newco A is paying that. Insurance, if it's $600 for 6 months, what's it for the year? $1,200. All right, $1,200 for the year. Now, gas at $250 a month is how much for the year? Yep. All right. And then we got $1,000 for the year for the maintenance, oil change, things like that. So let's total this up. What are the expenses? Add that up.
7,600.
$7,600. All right. Now, how much is this truck going to drive around doing marketing, looking at new properties? I mean, I'm in the real estate investing business. I market, I find clients. Let's say if we base it off of what I did last year, 16,000 miles in 1 year. Okay? Now, 16,000 miles driven, you need to understand how the tax code works. The IRS allows you to deduct $0.545 per mile driven. So somebody take your calculator, take 16,000 times 0.545, tell me what you get.
9,000.
What did you get?
What'd you get? I got 8,720.
I just did it.
Oh, in your head.
8,000.
720.
8,720. All right. So what's that mean? That means that I will get reimbursed from the government that much money for my business. Now how much did it cost me? Over here, take a look at this. 7,000. So when I take 7,600 and I minus, or I get back 8,000, so I need to take this 8,000 amount, and
Those are all write-offs. So you add them together.
no, I'm subtracting right here. So we got 0, 2, 1, 1. 1,120. What's that mean? This is actually a positive. This is actually a positive. Let's take this number and divide that by 12, please. Should come up around 90 something. What do we got? Pull out those calculators. Audience participation.
93.33.
93.33. What does this mean? This means as I drive this vehicle throughout the year and I do my taxes at the end of the year, Uncle Sam will pay me $93.33 a month just to drive my vehicle. Now, who has, by show of hands, a better car payment than I do? Where you're getting paid $93.33 a month to drive your own vehicle. Is that good or good? So you got to understand, this is how the wealthy know and how to leverage taxes. If you can do this with a car, could you do this with a cell phone? If you can do it with a car and a cell phone, could we find that ways to do this with our own house? Your home office, different expenses that you have, right? This is how you start leveraging the tax system to your advantage. And it all started because I had a business. I started a business. Now, because of how this was done, I have two businesses. I now can take write-offs in two different businesses. Here in this business, I'm taking 8,720. Over in that business, I'm taking 15,000. So you're like, wait a minute. The vehicle costs 15,000, and in 1 year, you're going to deduct around $23,000. Is that legal? Yes. Which is why you need to understand how this works. Once you know how the system works, you can leverage this to your advantage, right? Because the government is going to incentivize you as a small business owner to be successful, because what's the lifeblood of the free market capitalist, society? It's small business. We generate all the money. So let's talk about banking for a minute here. All right, moving on to another pillar. We talked about taxes. Now we're on to banking. We like to help people understand that the bank, God bless the bank. They have such a beautiful business model, don't they? I mean, you give them money, you put in your bank, they lend money back to you, maybe in effect your own money back to you at a higher interest rate than what they pay you for it. I want to be a bank. That is an excellent business model. But let me ask you something. Fresh water at sea level freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Do you agree with that? True or false? True. What about this? What if I wrote over here, fresh water at sea level freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit? Is that true?
Yes.
So, are these two amounts the same? 32 degrees Fahrenheit and 0 degrees Celsius.
They're equal.
They're equivalent. They're equal. But they're not the same, because that says 0 and that says 1. So let's test your knowledge. That if we change that to 1 degree Celsius, and we compare that to 32 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hotter?
1 degrees.
I hear from Joshua in the back. 1. Well, you're right, 1 degrees. Isn't that crazy? Hey, let's try it one more time. 6 degrees Celsius, and let's change this to 21 degrees Fahrenheit. Which one's hotter?
6.
Are you serious? 6? But it's a 6. Look at this. It's a 6. This is a 21.
Scale's different.
The scale's different. Oh my goodness. You know what? The scales are different. And a lot of people don't realize that when you go to the bank and you get a 6% loan, versus say a 21%, credit card, they don't understand that these two amounts, these two percentages are different, because over here on the loan, this is amortized. And this over here, the 21, is simple. Here's what happened. In high school, most people, I must emphasize, most people learned about simple interest. And we have credit cards and we understand. What is 21% of 100? 21. Okay, we seem to understand that. But what is 6% amortized of 100? Right? That's not as easy to figure out. We assume, 6? I don't know. Well, hey, just as with Celsius and Fahrenheit, is there a formula that allows me to convert from Celsius over here into Fahrenheit? And if I know Fahrenheit, is there a formula where I can convert the temperature into Celsius? Well, there's also a formula that you can use to convert from amortized interest to simple interest. Now, it's not 100% exact for my engineer types out there, right? But it's close. So take your 6% and multiply that by 2. What do you get?
12.
You get 12%. Then take that amount and multiply that by 10. What do you get? 120, right? So that's your conversion from what we call amortized into simple. Now, what's the actual amount? If you went and did the calculation and figured it out, it's 116%. But do you see how close that is? Where if you use this simple formula, you can sort of eyeball what your amortized loan is and get in the ballpark of what that would be in simple interest. So that's crazy. Imagine you go into the bank and you're applying for your loan, and they're like, well, Mr. Johnson, it looks like you have qualified for a 116% loan. Congratulations, right? Well, how come no one's shaking my hand? You guys don't want to pay 116% interest on your money? So the bank, are they not smart? Are they not ingenious? Let's recalculate how we figure that out, right? So they come up with an amortization schedule, right? Where let's say you're paying a $1,200 a month payment, right? On the amortization schedule, $950 of the first payment goes to interest, and then $250 goes to principal. Now, does that look like 6% to you? Now they'll tell you, well, over lifetime of the, no, it never, the math never adds up for me. You'll talk to some banker and they'll swear up and down that yes, it's 6%. And it is on a daily calculated rate, depending on a lot of variables. But ultimately, I think we all understand that if you buy a house on a 30-year loan and you pay it off in 30 years, you're going to pay for that house 2 or 3 times what you originally paid for it. Does that sound like 6%, or does that sound like 300%? Okay, so I'm just trying to make this real for you folks. When you have a loan and you see it's at 6%, you're really paying 116. So what if there was a way to take lines of credit, like a credit card or other types of lines of credit, and what if we could pay down a loan using simple interest? What if I could convert my principal on the loan into simple interest? Would it be cheaper for me to pay down my loan at 21% simple interest, or to keep making my payments at 116%? Now, folks, this is what I'm showing you guys here is a term we call velocity banking, right? Velocity banking. I don't have time to go over this. We actually will do a video later where we'll go into depth for like 2 hours on what this is and how to implement it. I wanted to give you guys an idea that we're talking about systems here. You know, every dollar in the U.S. economy is flowing through the system. Dollars flowing through the banking system, right? People are paying loans. They get a personal loan, an auto loan, a home loan, a student loan, right? We get loans, and look at how much money you're paying in interest. And then we have lines of credit or credit cards, and we try not to use these. We hear that they're bad. We cut up the credit cards and throw them away. But we need to reconsider how to pay off this expensive debt. Wealthy folks understand velocity banking and use this. They use this strategy to aggressively pay down their amortized loans in 1/3 the time without making any extra payments. So velocity, we talked about taxes, we talked about velocity banking. When you know how to save taxes, when you know how to save money and paying interest, money saved is money what? Money earned. Thanks, Ben Franklin. All right, but let's go back over here. I want to talk to you about business. Talked about taxes, banking. What about business? My goodness, there's so much to talk about with business. So many ways. Obviously, starting a business is the #1 tax strategy. But what else? What else do we know about business? Well, business, for you to even take advantage of a tax strategy, you're going to have to be in a business that actually makes money, right? It does you no good to have a business that's not making any money, because then what are you writing off? Nothing. So, but people are like, oh man, I'm not making any money. I want my business to make money. And you might have the greatest thing since sliced bread. I hear that expression all the time. I mean, come on. There's been a lot of things that are great, since sliced bread. Why do people always go back to there? I mean, roads are pretty great. There's plenty of things that have been invented, but somehow sliced bread tops the cake. But here's the thing: whatever you're going to do, if you need to start making money today, right? You need your business to start immediately producing cash flow, because what does a business need to be successful? It needs cash flow. It needs to be making money, right? Your business needs credit. Your business needs collateral, right? You need to own something. You need to have purchase orders, products, real estate. You need to own something. A healthy business has all three of these and more. They probably have capacity and character. But I'm just going over these 3 C's, because how do we get cash flow right off the bat? #1 way to start generating cash flow for your business is to start making referrals. Referrals. What does every business need? What does every business need? Every business needs people, property, and money. That's what every business needs. If you find a business out there, they need clients, they need customers. Every business needs real estate. You're like, wait a minute, I run my business out of my garage. Yes. Well, you couldn't run that business without that garage now, could you? Every business is looking to expand and get an office, a virtual office, something. Money. Every business needs liquidity. They need the ability to access funds, make money, have cash on hand, credit, whatever it is. So referrals. How do we make referrals? Find out what a business needs and go find out what another business has and bring the two together and then collect a finder's fee, so to speak. So I run a real estate investing business. If you were to find me a buyer, right, I could pay you a referral fee for helping me find the buyer. If you find me a property and I can close on it, I can pay you a referral fee for that. If you help me find an investor, someone who has money to invest in my business, I could pay a referral fee for that. Every business is different, but referrals work the same way. You know somebody who has a need, a business, and you find another business that can produce that, and you bring the two together. It's the quickest way to start generating some cash flow right off the bat is through referrals. It's the best way to also grow your market. So we talk about cash flow. You know, when you start working with us, we're going to be talking about some of the other systems here. We're going to be talking about real estate, and we're going to be talking about education. Those are the final 2 pillars, but I'm going to let my business partner come out and talk about those. But I just want to let you know that there's even referrals for that. There's referrals for everything. We found a referral for a software company. So if I use a piece of software, and then I get somebody else to use it, I can get a referral. Referrals are very powerful with taxes, banking, business, real estate, and education. There's so many referral opportunities. There are referral opportunities where you can make anywhere from $1,000 up to $10,000 per referral, right? We want to talk to you and go over that in future videos. But what about credit? Is it possible to have a business build credit on its own? Like, we think of ourselves like we have a social security number, right? Right? Social security number. Like right now, if I asked you, what's your credit score? Don't answer. But immediately think of a 3-digit number. Well, let's hope it's a 3-digit number, right? Because if it's smaller than 3 digits, you got problems. Social security number. You can build credit off of that on the personal side. But what about business? Business can build credit off of the EIN. Now that's powerful, folks. When you don't have to give a personal guarantee for the money and you can go get money for your business based off of the strength of your EIN, what's put up to you? There's so many potentials. We help folks learn how they can get, $50,000 in lines of credit, right? In just 6 to 12 months, right? Now, let's say you do want to use the personal guarantee. You want to use the personal guarantee with the EIN. We help people get $25,000 up to $150,000 in 3 weeks, right? There's so many different ways that you can get access to funds. When you start a business, it opens up so many opportunities. There's only so much you can do as an individual. There's only so many houses you can buy. There's only so many tax deductions you can take. But when you have a business, you can start creating cash flow through referrals. You can start building business credit. Once you have business credit, you can start getting collateral. Think about it. Your business could own things. Like my business owns a vehicle. It owns several rental properties, right? Those can be leveraged. You can get collateral-based loans and lines against the collateral that you own, thus expanding the amount of capital that your business has access to. My goodness, in just a very short period of time, I've gone over 3 out of the 5 pillars of success, right? So I'm so excited. I want to go over more, but I've really got to, for the sake of time, I got to pass this off to my business partner. And here's a good reason why you're going to listen to Ray Fleming, because this guy knows a lot about business. He started a lot of businesses, so he understands all about taxes, banking, and business. But where did he make his money? He made his money in real estate. In just the last 2 years, he's done 10 deals. We're talking about wholesales, fix and flips. He also has 5 doors paying him rent. It's the first of the month yesterday, and rent comes in. I mean, how cool is that, right? You don't have to go to work. You don't have to go get a job, right? You could just have other people go to work at their job and make sure that you're the first person that they pay, right? This is a man who has mastered business credit, real estate, and he's done so very powerfully. I'm going to bring him up here to really talk you through these last 2 pillars of wealth and help set you up, hopefully, for success in your business as well. So please welcome to the front of the room, Mr. Ray Fleming. Woohoo!
Perfect. Thank you, Joseph. Banking, taxes, business. So we still have 2 more pillars of where money in this U.S. economy flows through. Who else wants to take a stab at what those 2 other pillars are? Where does money go? Real estate. So we have real estate. Perfect. Yes, real estate is one. And we are going to put that over here. So real estate over here. And we also have one more that we're going to add over here, which would be education. Education. So these are the other 2. Would you agree? Money flows to the state, for sure. And education. Big business in this country. That's for sure. But so let's talk about the real estate. So, for example, last deal that we worked on, we had purchased this for $146,000. That's what we purchased this for. So that was the purchase price. We ended up actually spending another $11,000 working on it. Now, as we're holding on to this, because we didn't hold on to it for very long, this whole thing was done within 35 days. So we actually spent another $600 holding on to this property. Now, when we had to go of the property, bringing us to a grand total of $160,000 that is going to be spent on this property. So, is that a good deal? Well, it depends on what was the house worth. When we first found this property, we estimated that it had ARV. What is ARV?
After repair value.
After repair value, that is right. And so we valued it at $180,000. Not too shabby. So we subtract out the total cost that it took, $160,000, including the closing costs and fees. We end up with a clean $20,000 profit. Not too bad. And this was done in 32, did I say 35?
35.
Is it 35?
35.
35 days. 35 days. Now, making $20,000 in 35 days, that works out pretty nicely. So, how did we do that though? So the goal is to have some pretty large paydays. $20,000 in 30 days is not bad at all. But how did we get there? Well, we didn't know how to do this, so we had to get educated. That was the first step to get to making the profit. Now, on the education side, what did we have to do? Well, I went and found some of the top professionals in the country who I could actually access and learn from. And I went through a program that broke it down into 3 simple steps. Just 3 simple steps. That was kind of going, they call it the first part the essentials. It was just the basics of knowing how to do real estate and finances. It was all about really keeping the money we make. Because if you don't have your foundation set up to actually hold on to your money, when you actually go out and make it, you will not be able to keep any of it. And so let's just take a look at the line of events as they transpired to work out to a $20,000 deal. So I started this, and I went through some classes. There was actually 11 classes, and through those classes, there was actually 9 tests. There was pre-tests, there was post-tests, so let me see how I was doing as I moved along, and a passing grade was actually 100%. 100%. One of the classes in here is self-directed retirement account, so how to actually take an old IRA or a current IRA or an old 401k and how to convert that into a investable, into a structure that you could actually run out and invest that into real estate. As we did that, it helped because I also started group coaching. Now, group coaching was with a top investor from, born and raised in America who actively invest every single day. And I got onto a group of online with a bunch of other investors and just masterminded on different aspects, different deals. This was absolutely phenomenal. Now, after I moved through that, then I wanted to specialize. And so the way it worked is there was the beginner courses, and then there was what they call the accelerated investor training. Now, they had specialties like fix and flips, You want to specialize in rental property, buy and hold, commercial property. If you want to, get large apartment complexes, multifamily properties. We had tax deeds and liens, notes. So if you wanted to just broker notes, didn't want to deal with the termites and the headaches and the taxes and the toilets and just work the paper side, those were all viable options for me. So what I did in this model is took the beginner classes and the fix and flip classes. So as I went through fix and flip, this told me really how to build the real estate. So first got structured, my legal structure, my tax and legal. Now I'm moving into doing fix and flipping, and I'm learning through this. And there's actually 12 classes I took. And then, of course, with 12 classes, that comes along with 12 tests. And what was the passing grade for that?
100.
100%. That is right. Now, how do you think your investors are going to feel if you can actually show them that you took a long 8-hour class from a reputable investor? These are people who specialize in the area that they teach. So in here, this is not just one person. This is, several different investors teaching their specialty areas. And of course, we, can show you a lot more in depth, but we want to just give you the foundation of where I started, where we both came from, and how we actually got there. Now, when I actually started this, I started one-on-one coaching. One-on-one coaching with a top investor, somebody who's done millions and millions of dollars of real estate, helping them get me through my first deal. And so I could actually get to that $20,000 payday. Now, I know what I need to do, but that knowledge is just sitting there if we don't take action. So that is the last step, is to take action. Take action. Now, if we're going to do a fix and flip, and we have to actually find a property with some profit in it, we're going to have to go out and look at a bunch of properties. Statistically, we'll have to make 100 offers. 10 of them will talk to us, so 10 people will actually talk with us. 3 will accept our offer, and 1 will make it to the closing table. Now, say all 3 make it to the closing table. What do you do if you only have the resources available for 1 project, but you have 3 under contract? What could you do with the other 2?
Wholesale them?
Wholesale them out. Yeah, so you go to another investor and say, I got this deal in a contract, do you want it? This so much profit, blah, 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 blah. Perfect. And then you just sell off, take an assignment fee for that. Now, if you had to actually write 100 offers, you probably had to look at well more than that as far as properties, a couple hundred properties you'd have to look at. But how could you do this if you're, trying to do this in a short period of time? Well, we have one of the, it's the top in the country. We call it the investor operating software, points you in the direction of one of the best companies to use as far as the data collection of basically integrating into a system. We get a phenomenal discount on this, and we already have it integrated with us. We use this every single day. And what this does is this shows you where the people, the properties, and the money are. This will send direct mailers to houses. This will tell you the properties that are vacant. It'll find money lenders for you and potential new investors. This is absolutely phenomenal software, which we'll cover at a later date and time. But when I put everything together, when I started working with the group, started getting on some coaching calls, and started masterminding like what we are doing here, we move you through the process. So you start in the beginning, get your foundation, get your company up and running. And then we move into finding how to actually do this profitable, moving into the deal, creation and acquisition, title and escrow, and then closing to actually make a deal. Make the money on your way in, making sure you ran your numbers right, and then just got to manage the project to make sure that you stay in budget, which you learned how to do over here, but that you stay in budget and then you come out on top. And that is how we make $20,000 profit. So What would you pay for something like this? I mean, if we could show you a easy 3-step path on how to make minimum $20,000 per deal, what would that be worth? Will they teach us in college?
No.
All right. So if I would tell you you could get started for as little as $2,000, is that a good deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, get you started for anywhere from 2,000. Now, of course, I went through all the classes and my full education. That ended up in $20,000, but not a penny more. So that's what it was. Cost me $20,000 and make back $20,000 on the first deal. Now that worked out pretty well. So if it cost me $20,000 to learn how to do this, and I made $20,000 off the first deal. Well, this isn't the first deal, but just for example, I did make $20,000 off the first deal. How much did the education actually cost?
Nothing.
It was effectively free, basically. I mean, it showed me how to actually get the money back. We've done this several times now then, but once you know how to do something once successfully, can't you do it again? Yeah, for sure. Over and over again. So keep coming back, because this is where we're going to get you there. This is how you're going to get there. And whatever this money is, it can go towards whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is. That's how we're going to get you there. Because there's no shortage of dreams in the world, or dreamers. There's just a shortage of people that are willing to do whatever it takes to make their dreams become reality. Thank you, everybody. Good night. God bless.
Awesome.
You